Supers here.
I think we want to play Lulu as DN Supers. Maybe like
Lulu Jinx.
Jinx Lulu. The only issue is that the Jinx and the Jarvan can be a little bit rough, but
if you space well,
a great front line.
And you have the front line, does work.
Oh, I was worried about this. They're going to go for the Kalista and Renata themselves, which makes them extremely all in and
Lulu was available
and short ranged into Aphelios.
So with this Lulu
and Lulu,
your Jarvan is an extra engage. Both of your carries, which have insane damage output, are very safe. Yeah, Lulu is what he means to pick, surely. Now, we did talk about Keria not necessarily enjoying the Enchanter supports as much. We'll go for the correct one. Lulu also can polymorph a Yone or a Kalista
here in game number 2. The other part of the draft I thought was interesting, we also touched on, was just giving Showmaker Rise. You know, like it was obvious they had an answer, in quotations, but Rise is like, he's S tier on this patch, especially in the LCK. All of our mid laners love him, and Showmaker loves him as well, even more so. It just feels weird to, you know, he played Azir, he was able to get through that game, and now you give him Rise. Feels like Showmaker's just kind of ramping up perfectly in the picks that he's getting.
Where is the value for the hostile takeover here? You know what I mean? Like, who are you really going to be saying, aha, kept you at bay there? It doesn't feel very strong. It can help set up Rumble equalizers. Yeah. Can be decent to disrupt people who are trying to retreat while Yone is looking for an angle.
Bailout bot. You know, it's not hostile takeover, but...
And it's just, bailout also requires you to be at a game state where your carries secure those kills, be it the Yone or the Kalista, and in some niche cases, maybe the Rumble doing battle with his big shield later on. But I kind of feel like when I look at the Renata, it was picked just for lane in a lot of cases, and the bailout power there. But you're playing the Lulu anyways. And whoever gets the bailout on them, if that polymorph is available, turn into a little critter. And kind of hard to make the bailout work. So I think if they get ahead, it can absolutely work.
Yeah, but they have to get ahead. I think, you know, that's what happens when you draft comps like this that are very all-in. If you don't roll the correct way, if you don't get an early lead, sometimes it can get a bit rough. The Oner definitely going to struggle into the Rise early on. The Rumble essentially neutralized by the Cassante. At least they have Kalista Renata on the side of DNS to try to push their lead early on in the lane. But even then, Aphelios Lulu is no slouch. Like, yes, in the early levels, they're going to have to back away and respect, but it does feel like they can certainly hold their own.
I think Peter is also a very good Renata player. I think he's earned his stripes on this champion. And his handshakes have been good. His timings of his ultimates have been good. His bailouts have been very good. Peter kind of was always the Enchanter guy initially. I think he's really revved up his engage pool quite a bit. But originally, we were like, this is the Yuumi guy. And now, you know, he's kind of playing the hybrid version here where you have the handshake. We also have all that Enchanter's decision-making and timing-based play here. See how he performs, as we do have an early gank from Pyosik potentially.
I mean, they saw that. They saw this. Like, they saw him there. They saw him with the thing, and they're trying to turn around the play instead. They're going to have to use their 80 carry flash for it, but now Lucid flag and drags into danger. And just to take a bit of damage here. Also gets flailed on his way out for good measure.
Keria low on mana, so they really need to make this work early if they want it to work.
Yeah, Keria, okay, is going to, let's call it a tempo heal. And it's actually getting them a good amount of presence in the lane, at least, as it feels like our junglers are just kind of babysitting bottom lane. Dudu going to avoid one of the weapon drops there.
That ends up being a really positive result for DPLUS, even though Smash had to flash.
Shu, okay, the Harpun's going to miss. The flash on in is not going to be enough, so Shu just kind of laughs at him and runs away. Keria is going to get hands shook, and a 3-man root comes in from Smash now as Pyosik Yeah, the flash after the fact always feels bad. That's first blood given over to Smash already.
It does feel like Smash, you know, I started the conversation last game, but we didn't get to finish it. It was discussed a little bit on the space, but it does feel like Smash has looked at Keria and he's like, your health bar is a sacrifice, okay? I need you to use it so that I can win. And Keria's like, all right, let me just stand up here and get hand shook. They're gonna use everything on me. I'm a Lulu. You can go for your triple root. Like, Smash, it almost feels, is literally micromanaging Keria. I'm gonna need you to stand here, and then I'm gonna hit him.
All right, go in and bait them.
And like the last game as well, the Leona, he's just like, look, I hit everything. Keria's like, are you sure? He's like, I told you, I hit everything. I told you to trust me.
And that he did. And, you know, Pioshik, he goes down. It's not the end of the world for him. I think him losing his flash is the biggest deal. Not sure if he's going to have that up and ready for when he hits level 6. Maybe like a level 6 to level 7 kind of spike. But that first ult from the Sejuani can be very important, as a lot of our playmakers from the jungle can be.
Interesting Rise rotation up to the top lane.
Yeah, this is the Faker. And they're going to just go for it under the turret, looking for the knockback. And there it is. Equalizer comes down. No flash available as he used it to try to take down Siu earlier. The burn is there, but it's not enough. And that's how you punish a guy who has no flash. DK really doing great in this early game.
Closer is not able to get any punish in return either. He's just walking back to lane. Doesn't have TP. Finds himself still behind. So there is just no cost to this play for Showmaker. Outside of his Realm Warp, which I don't think he cares. He got value out of it.
Oh, Keria definitely going down here. No flash on him. And even though Pioshik is not level 6, it's still a very nice gank because they're looking for more. We got a Jarvan coming on up. The bailout is there, and Duckdom has nowhere to go. He just, or rather, Smash has nowhere to go. Duckdom picks up the double kill. And all of a sudden, DNS turning it around in the bottom lane.
Smash may have mind-controlled and or told Keria, micromanaged him to be his health bar a sacrifice again, but this time it did not work out the way that he intended. As I go back to this play here, look at this, pushing him in and then getting the knockback there as Showmaker shows up. Dudu goes left because he knows there is no way out to the right, just trying to maximize damage on Siu. And here Keria is like, all right, just gonna walk forward and gets hit by the handshake. Joshi gets on top of him, he's burst down, does not have level 6. Smash has a white gun here, so he can do a lot of damage, especially if he was able to link with Infernum, but fortunately Lucid is too late. Duckdom is Kalista, and they give the Kalista free bailout angle with the Rend at play. And now, quantifying this game a little bit more challenging. I still think DPLUS, they have a gold lead, right? They got the Rise accelerated, and the Aphelios will cash in this call in a few minutes, and still going to be very strong, but now Duckdom is a big problem for these upcoming early game objective fights. So I think DPLUS are not in the lead now, but they have an angle to get back in.
DNS.
Sorry, DNS.
Yeah. And they absolutely do.
What's up with all our D tri-code teams in this lower bracket?
And there's even Nongshim as well, which is just NS, and now we have DNS, and it's like, what do all the names mean? I don't know.
B&K's BFX also, just to trip you up.
Yeah, hard to follow sometimes. Chat's always asking about that one.
Like Gen for Genji? That makes sense, yeah.
Makes sense, yeah.
T1 for T1?
T1?
Believe it or not, I'm kind of about that one. That's a good bro for bro? Yes!
Yeah. Straightforward enough.
Imagine if
then
they
it
change it
gets
to like
murky.
HBR when the LCK starts and they get their Hanjin sponsorship.
Yeah. I really hope not.
They won't.
That would be...
Bro is the brand, it's the culture.
Yeah. It's all about the culture as well. As, you know, Rise Group, Fries Group, it does feel like we're kind of dipping in our toes in a little bit here anyway.
The Rise Group culture is all about the common man. Yeah, also a great shout out from G-Sun, HLE, Hanwha Life Esports. Very clear, very clean.
Or HLA.
Yes.
I sometimes call them.
It has been occasionally named. I mean, to be fair for DRX, they're just in the mix of the messy, you know, tri-codes. They are just DRX.
Yeah.
That
for them,
also
it's not really
works.
their fault, but
yeah,
they still one of the D teams.
Nongshim's probably like, look, you guys just stole our tri-code, put a D over there.
Did you have to be the Supers? I don't know.
Well, they got the first dragon, DNS did, which is what this comp needs to do. So that's helping their angle I talked about. Again, I don't think they have a winning position in this game just yet, but they have the opportunities to stack these dragons up. Not going to be a Hextech Soul if they do double dragon here, nor a Cloud, which would be really strong for their composition, but
yeah,
Infernal would be huge.
I think Infernal definitely feels the best right now. I think also Mountain, not bad for either team, right? Like, imagine a Rise with Mountain Soul. That's pretty huge. Imagine
Jaxo's Callista.
Yeah, Jaxo's Callista, a very all-in comp that has shields and has a little bit more ability to overplay their hands in a good way. It does feel very good. I feel like Mountain definitely very strong. Infernal kind of just allows you to do what you're already doing better.
Chemtech, there's actually some real argument there as well. You know, Callista running around in a team fight with Chemtech Soul. Feels pretty good. Aphelios.
Yeah, with Bailout.
Rise, yeah, Bailout also. You got the Lulu and you got the Renata. You know, some extra shields coming through. I feel like that's pretty decent.
And then there's Oceans.
Now we don't talk. No, that one's not. That's not good for anybody.
I just thought maybe I'd bring it up. You know, I know we don't like to talk about it, but Ocean Soul does exist. Lucid going in. He's up a level. Yoshik kind of half health, and now Duck Dom. They're just going to go all in onto Lucid, it looks like, and try to play around that. Massive value on the Wild Growth, but again, no real follow-up. Duck Dom, very awkward spot for him. No ults. They're just going to have to go forward. That's what this comp does, and now Showmaker has to flash the wall as the pressure is there. And DNS actually make a good play down on the bottom side.
Yeah, ends up being a pretty solid W there onto Lucid. The polymorph value, not that strong. With the timing it was used, the Wild Growth looked like it might have been insane. I'm not going to talk about Keria's other Wild Growth he had here in the playoffs, but I've talked about it enough.
Yeah.
But this one was, again, a huge multi-man that did not eventuate in the value because of the timing of it. The Fate's Call also just absorbed the Aphelios ult for the most part. His closer's in trouble.
Ooh! He's one auto off. Instead, he's just going to live. Still an immense amount of pressure that Showmaker's putting on.
Showmaker's like not done. He's like, you better back.
This is my lane now. Well, it was his lane from the beginning of this game. And they're kind of hanging around the bottom side, trying to stop some backs. Definitely easier on Lulu than a Rel. But, yeah, not able to do that.
This
so
Rumble matchup isn't really getting a whole lot done either. We haven't played through that at all. This ultimate is just absorbed by, for the most part, the ultimate here is Duck Dom gets polymorphed early, but then just goes deep into the fight. And even though there's a multi-man knockup with the Wild Growth, it doesn't matter because there isn't any follow-up. And then Smash runs out of red-white. Showmaker has to flash away.
He ran into the pit. Like, he got healed and he ran straight at the Callista. And then he was like, oh, wait. I don't do damage yet, and I'm alone. I guess I'm just flashing away. Meanwhile, yeah, this Cassante is doing a number up here. Again, just neutralizing the Rumble. It's not like the Cassante is going to go insane mode. I mean, he is going to go all out, but not insane mode. Doesn't
just all out.
Not on this patch.
Going all out means different things, you know, for different people.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Chronicler, for example, like, his going all out was often to just have a polite conversation.
Or to, like, cook more than one meal during the day.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going all out today. I cooked quite a lot, you know.
I'm going all out to the corner store to get some tea.
We're all going out and having a great meetup as friends. Chronicler is cooking very good, actually.
Yeah.
For those
Enjoyed it
who are
on
curious.
Occasion.
We love to poke fun at his garlic comments and all that.
You know, this is a pretty awkward spot for DPLUS, so they're a little bit out of time, and I think this might just be the double. However,
just walk forward and press D. Outplayed, DNS! So we do have the Moonlight Vigil coming through. It just hits the Sejuani.
Jarvan?
It's Ocean Soul.
Yeah, well, so at least they feel better about it now. The fact that they didn't get it. And DPLUS feel less good about the fact that they stole it. But they got a Hextech Dragon, which the best they could have gotten for the rest of the dragons here.
Ocean Soul isn't bad, you know, you don't want to give everything to DNS. It's comparatively not great, but
It does have an effect that will help you out in terms of healing. It's just not quite the same amount of resistances you would have gotten for a Chemtech Soul or, you know, sub 50% health, or the shield and resistances you got from Mountain Soul, or the extra, you know, burst damage around skill shots that hit for the Infernal Soul. But, you know, it's not bad, like you said.
Look at the play. Okay.
So Jarvan,
I was going to say, look at all, you know, playing towards the bottom side. That's good stuff from DNS and Pyoshik, but
I think DNS are already feeling the pressure of Jarvan just coming and walking and stealing out of the blue. Like, well, that was our whole thing with this comp, was we stacked dragons and we didn't get that one. So we got to try to make something aggressive happen, and they're making desperate moves like that fortunately just looked a little bit silly. Jarvan, not only did he steal it, but he kind of just used his feet and not his flagging or his dragging or his cataclysm mobility options, nor his flash to do so. That isn't ideal.
At least it wasn't a flag steal.
That has happened.
And not two in the same game.
That has also happened. But not this time.
Still ridiculous. That feels like a once-in-a-million game.
Remember the reverse Gnar boomerang steal from like 2022?
Yeah. Wasn't that Dudu, I feel like?
I think it was. I think you're right.
I feel like it was like maybe Dudu's first year.
It might have been Dudu. I also feel like there was a weird chance it could be Hoya. or something like that.
Or Zeus. He played a lot of Gnar. But it doesn't feel like it was him. I feel like it was like a random day and we were like...
Oh, Doran also has one. That's true. That's right. I do kind of remember that.
I'm curious about that first one. I know which one you're talking about.
Well, this is a position that DNS have to walk, like this tightrope without Fate's Call, where they want to be hyper-aggressive. They don't have that extra safety tool here for Peter to look for handshakes, so it is very awkward. Smash is just sitting on Stormrazor and kind of chilling here with some resources committed. They are going to use that prio to try to start up this Herald, and because they have Kalista as a secondary smite here, I think it's just a no-go. Although Lucid has stolen objectives before.
This TP is a bit late. I mean, you're not really going to be able to do much. Double knockup comes in. The Sejuani ult gets some good value on top of the equalizer. Lucid again the target for this DNS squad. They're not getting onto the important ones, and now Peter getting pretty low due to behind enemy lines. Peter is just going to have to flash the wall. In goes Lucid trying to punish this one. The Realm Warp as well, and Duck Dom goes down to the auto of career. And so they got the Rift Herald, but 2 kills do go to DK.
It'd be really cool if Career had like a pet otter, part of his identity, you know. He has a license for it, so it's cool. He was once a zookeeper.
Yeah, we have some pros that have pets. I think Keys has a cat.
Fight is like everything about this composition for DNS that I had concerns about. Like, who took damage? DuckDom's still waiting for the day for him to reach people. He's like, I really want to hurt them. Hey, please allow me to do that? No. Cannot quite do it. Has to flash away. Realm Warp behind him. Where's the bailout? Where's anything? I can't reach anybody. We can't hurt them. It's not great.
Trying to make a play here on a Dudu. He's going to have to flash away. Did have Pyoshik making his way up with nothing, basically. And so she was winning in that top lane. We got Showmaker 1-0 and 2 on the rise. He's scaling. Got 2 kills for Smash's Aphelios. Things going just about as good as they can for DPLUS Kia.
The way back in is just a one fight on this upcoming Dragon, I think, and you have to kind of send it. Your Fate's Call is back up. The Oner ultimate should be back up. And maybe this time you're able to at least secure the Dragon, but hopefully get that bailout value, burst somebody down, turn onto the Jarvan who doesn't have flash anymore, kill him first and try to front to back. Like, you have to make a decisive call here. They have a ton of vision around it. Like, this has got to be the moment. And if DPLUS just ignore the Dragon, frankly, that's pretty good for them too, because it is Ocean Soul, as we've talked about quite a bit, and I think this is the one way in for DNS. So if they just look at this and they go, that's a lot of vision that we don't have. I don't really like that. I'm just going to say no. Feels pretty good. And Shio's going top lane. He doesn't have teleport, so it was like DPLUS are pretending like they're going to contest, but are actually just going to chill, which might be correct. They're going to wait for an opportunity because Lucid is still Jarvan.
I don't trust the majority of our teams to make complicated macro calls, to be completely frank, because sometimes they will just fight for no reason. It feels like the LCK has learned to do that over time. But this is definitely the right call. As you mentioned, give up the Drake, take the turret plates in the top lane, maybe even take the whole turret.
It's funny to think about it this way, but it almost feels like this decision by DPLUS to go, no, I'm just not going to fight without vision might have been like the game-winning move. Just to not int and get money elsewhere, as Pioshik is going to get a charge here into the turret, but won't get the turret itself, as they are so desperate. They're like, no, I needed you to fight me here. Like, this is where we're at our best. This is our last chance for a team fight. DPLUS like, nah, I don't really want to lose, so...
Trying to go all out on a Dudu under the turret, but now we have a Rise on the way, and that turret is not very long for this world. Dudu trying to hold on to his turret. As you see that DNS are trying to get something in mid lane for this. Dudu is buying quite a lot of time, but he will not live. Doesn't look like he'll be taking out Xiu either, so down he goes to Showmaker, but DNS did get the mid-tier 1.
It was a good decisive call to push for the turret there, and Dudu does have teleport, so he'll be back on the map right away. Had DPLUS maybe hoped they were going to try to turn that into a Baron play or something like that, which they couldn't do because the mid was pushed in. They lost their turret there. So the sacrifice feels okay. You know, the gold is pretty even between these top laners at this moment in time, and he is going to be a bigger threat later. I'm mostly just worried about Smash. And I think everybody who is hoping DNS is going to win this should be worried about Smash. As a 3-1 predictor, you know, who expects to be exactly correct that DNS is to win at least one game, I'm a little bit worried about Smash.
Yeah.
Who does actually now have his second item completed with a pickaxe on top of it. He is going to be a problem. The heal, you know, deny feels pretty strong. Showmaker's going to have his rod complete relatively soon. And that is going to be him halfway to level 16. And I don't know, we kind of used almost all of the words to describe Expired last game about this composition that was being played by DNS there.
Yeah.
I don't know how many more we can. So. Yeah, I don't know how many more we can like really pull out of the synonyms here. The thesaurus is like run dry on this one.
Yeah, we're out of material. We're gonna have to hire some Ghost Riders to help us out.
No longer favorable.
That's one we use pretty often.
Out of tempo, out of gas.
Out of stock.
Out of stock. Sold out.
Yeah, this comp is actually literally out of stock after this game.
Yeah.
Because it's fearless.
True.
So, yeah, just once per best of 5.
Out of season?
Yeah.
Okay, Ducktom, hold on. He says, actually, they could be played through the early spring.
Eventually. Eventually. As Engage Renata strikes again. And now Pioshik is coming on up here. And she will go down. And that is a shutdown for Ducktom. Actually a nice, healthy amount of gold. And Dudu can come in here and clear this wave.
Doesn't this feel kind of familiar, though, to last game where we spend everyone to kill someone who takes forever to die and then DPLUS get all the turrets on the other side of the map?
Yeah, I do remember that happening. Just going to ult in as Closer doing an insane amount of damage. Takes out Smash, who just neglects the ability for Closer to do that.
And maybe a Baron?
Yeah, it's absolutely
I can tell you
Baron.
what. I think Closer was not afraid of Smash, you know? I was a little afraid of Smash. I thought DNS fans need to be afraid. Closer said, no, that's no problem.
I killed that guy.
Q3, ult him, he's dead. Baron's dead. Okay, maybe a little bit too long on the side lane there for the side of DPLUS. With Showmaker also pushing into that turret deep, had TP.
How does he get turret aggro here?
Red buff?
He just attacks him.
Yeah, I don't know.
와우 나이스 뭐야 이거
What was that?
바텀 이거 도는 것만 조심해
He knows that's a window back into the game. Career is farming.
Yeah.
Trying to.
Generally not the best sign. Now we do have this Cassante still in a good spot, but not nearly as far ahead as he was, and in fact is behind on gold now, funnily enough, so we'll see. I mean, Dudu hasn't been able to do too much in this game, but now the One's really fed, the Kalista's doing great, so they kind of have their bread buttered there.
Yeah, I don't think they need to force a dragon fight. Maybe try to find a side lane angle or push mid aggressively to try to push DPLUS out of position so they don't waste their Baron. Unfortunately, right now, are a little bit slow on the uptake, and so DPLUS actually get mid prio. Dudu does have level 16 and teleport at the ready here on 2 items. Could join. He needs to come fast, though, if they're going to make this call. Teleport into the bottom lane.
Yeah, it's going to try to go for a singular Ocean Drake. Sometimes can be the bane of many a team here in the LCK.
Dudu's angle.
Dudu's got a fantastic equalizer and a catch! Once again! He gets smashed, but this time Smash lives for a very long period of time. He's extremely low. Duckdom wants to take him out, and the bailout does not get the value, but Smash is out of the fight. This Cassante doing quite a lot of work, though, on the right side. Dudu, full health, though, and it looks like DPLUS will have to back away from this one. As maybe DNS just get the dragon after all of that crazy chaos.
Chaos, a near dominant fight for the side of DNS. It's a trade down in kills, but a trade up in health bars, and they are going to grab this dragon. Lucid not willing to go for a, flag and drag, steal the flash out. Not worth it for the Ocean Soul, and so he just decides to back out. As initially here, this equalizer placement plus closer is amazing, but the wild growth gives just enough health here for Smash, who kites it back brilliantly, has cleanse and flash, and they just cannot close the gap. Like, Duckdom is actually just like, I can't reach him!
33 HP.
33 HP lives. Watch it again.
Son.
Wild growth comes out, cleanses out, he flashes, kites back. 33 there, heals up a little bit, and he's like, you can't reach. Has his caliber out.
Yeah. Trying to make a play here on a Duckdom. Renata Glass is there, looking for the bailout. Not going to get it. Wild growth too good. Dudu in a lot of trouble himself. Goes golden, but eventually will die. Showmaker picks up the kill. And just like that, DPLUS back in control. They lost the Drake, but it's individual Ocean Drakes. They're fine.
This Baron is, or was, quite a weak one. It's a Callisto picks up Terminus third, which I think does make a lot of sense, but it means that she doesn't have any survivability. Cannot actually live through the big burst damage when caught in situations like that. And not only are we seeing Polymorph be a great way to shut down bailouts, but also the wild growth just denies the takedown. As Duckdom essentially in the ruler spot here, and Peter is over the wall, like, I bailed this out, but there's just not enough damage. The wild growth is there, so Dudu looks silly as well. Has to break his stasis, will die anyways. So it's 2 kills here on the attempted turnaround. And DPLUS remove all the Barons. Rise with an Actualizer, and a Rod that's a little bit too big, I think, honestly, in his inventory.
It's pretty needless, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they had to make it that large, but he is big. He's got a lot of AP. He's going to press his Actualizer button on cooldown, and I think this game, that might have been the moment for DPLUS to just completely deny any sort of comeback for DNS. They got the steal away on those last few plays and sides and on the Baron, but now Dudu, let's see.
When have we seen this before? They have been punishing this Rumble so much. First pick Rumble not getting much value in this game. Just kind of gets neutralized, and even more than that, especially when the Rise keeps showing up in that top lane. And so your Rise is feeling very good, your Aphelios is really popping off. And DNS, they're losing, as more levels come in, as more items come in for DPLUS Kia, they're going to have these bigger health bars, they're going to live for much longer, and DNS thrives off of getting that first kill, snowballing team fights, and that's kind of why we were saying this will expire eventually, especially if you fall behind. If they were able to snowball from the beginning and get a decent lead by this point, we'd definitely be singing a different tune.
I liked their draft in Game 1. I liked how they put it together. It was really smart, but the execution was a little off. A little bit of overextending by Pioshik, right? The early game was great. This second draft felt even more all-in. And in some ways, it seems like DNS, it was a BNK idea. We talked about it in Game 1. Very creative, very much their playstyle, came prepared, but the second game didn't really leave me floored with their draft. Instead, it makes me feel like DNS came to cheese DPLUS today instead of trying to beat them straight up with the World Championship or near World Championship bottom duo, World Finalist bottom duo. And I'm just kind of looking at this series so far going, well, I guess what the 3-0 Predators said was true. They're the better team. And if they don't lose momentum, maybe DPLUS do just close this out easily, as Lucid may be caught, but there's no follow-up.
And this is what's happening so far, Wolf. Pioshik has to be careful about getting chunked out this much with the Baron available, I think they can just start it. And we are going to have the Trinket spot this.
And Smash is going to be able to use this to hold up.
All right, Peter kind of frontlining, and Dudu might just be the guy who gets punished for it as the Realm Warp gets everybody on top of this. Even the knock-up into the Wild Growth, and the front line of DNS is just getting shredded already.
And then Kalista needs to have control over objectives, needs to have a massive lead to do anything here. Like, it's like, okay, we lost our Rumble, he did a little bit of damage. What can we do to stop Baron? In truth, the best way, the best damage you can get is that Renata ultimate, having them hit each other for a second. And you don't want to waste that, by the way, that was a joke. So they just have to give it up. They have to say no. Dudu going for the aggressive play and just gets completely torn to pieces. Keria hits his third item. And going for the Hail Mary Ocean Soul play as a response is what they're looking for.
Oh, okay, they're going to catch Lucid here. He doesn't really have a health bar. I'm surprised the closer didn't try to ult that, but maybe he would just waste it and then get flashed away from. Kalista on the objective, and Lucid can't really get in. It's going to go down to the side of Pyosik. We got TP coming in here as well. Pyosik in the front line.
Cleanse out from Smash. He did absorb that ultimate from Pyosik. And man, DPLUS, that was pretty risky. I'm going to try to go for the fight there as Lucid survives and actually steals the Wolf Camp away. But when they looked like they were maybe going to full send it on that fight, I was like, well, DNS has been asking for that on Dragons the last 4 times. They were really hoping you guys were to send it. As Dudu shows up with TP and his Equalizer ready, but they do back away, hold on to their Barons, and go back to holding on to a lead and map control. As the Ocean Soul, unfortunately, there's a lot of Souls we've seen in this playoffs and play-ins where we go, okay, it's 1 dragon to 4, often just 4 dragons to the team that's behind, where it's worth it. We're talking Hextech Soul, we're talking Infernal Soul, Pyosik yesterday, and we're like, wow, that extra damage really meant a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Ocean Soul on the 0-5 in Rumble is going to be the same level of meaningfulness here in this 5,000 gold deficit, as DPLUS made the right call to walk away.
Yeah, at least, you know, with the Ocean Soul, if the fight does get extended and your Kalista's getting value and the bailouts coming out and stuff like that, maybe you can get some decent value there. But we'll have to wait and see. Rival Baron power play does come in. Oh, he's going to catch him once again, but this time the Wild Growth comes in and he just dies. Meanwhile, Keria also elects to just die.
He has the hero play.
Wild Growth,
he'll sacrifice himself.
Okay. Did his job, I suppose.
He also used both of his summoners, which could be important later on. We'll have to keep an eye on that, as it doesn't look like DPLUS is going to walk away with a 2 inhibitor lead this time around after this Baron goes over to them.
Yeah, now we have the flash down from Smash, and that might actually line up with the Elder spawn.
Closer's doing a little gaming. You know, he's like, I like to play Yone, I like to play the melees. Wild Growth is pretty high value. But imagine, you know, a scenario where this doesn't go as well. They don't have the full set. They don't have Baron. And he gets access a little bit better. Or now maybe they get access to Keria, who has no sums. There's no sums for Smash either.
Showmaker has 670 AP. Just picked up his very fancy hat. And I just don't really feel like there's a good answer for the Rise. Like, they have a lot of damage still. It's really going to take Closer to do that again, like 3 more times. And if he finds those angles consistently, like, they have a lot of burst damage. They have ways to blow up a target, even a Rise.
If, like, let's say Closer gets a kill onto Keria before he has to ult and he snaps back, and then they have a bailout for him and he goes in the second time, or Duck Dom is able to get enough time to put a lot of sticks into shield in a slower fight. And then when the engage comes through from Lucid, they have the bailout, or not the bailout, the hostile takeover angle. There's some like dream scenarios that you could try to think of. Maybe Keria's out of position warding. But ultimately, again, we're kind of looking at a DNS game state. We're like, well, maybe the Elder Flip could be the way in. And that's not really what you're hoping for when you're looking at the composition that you had.
I mean, if they get position on the Elder, it's actually a pretty good spot for them.
Yeah, because they've got Kalista
down 5,000 gold. They have the Ocean Soul, right? So you can tank up quite a lot.
They do have, you know, this time their inhibitors to play through, but they're going to have to eventually play aggressively to get control of the map to then have that position on the Dragon. As just sitting back and clearing these waves alone won't be enough. As for DPLUS, that is the game plan. Just lock them out of the map and do it for the next 2 minutes. Then you'll have access to the exodia of objectives. You'll have to make the right call on which one you start and when you start it and what kind of turn you look for. Well, the lead that they have should be simpler to do than it is to say, believe it or not. Easier done than said.
Not every day you hear that.
Yeah.
Dude just equalized a little bit forward, looked pretty silly.
He's clearing waves, got level 19.
I mean, he kind of missed the wave, though, so it was like, He's playing it very safely. He could tell that he's under a lot of pressure and that he's kind of the free food in this game, so...
He needs to buy time, because on the other side of the map, we're seeing some leeway here for Closer, who has that Sejuani down with him. They're actually going to look for the big scuttle here, which is pretty significant. Can help them clear a little bit more vision out, and then they can rush over to the Elder. Now, because there's no inhibitors up, or down rather, all their inhibitors are up, all their inhibitor turrets are up, they could just play this long con, grab onto the Elder, and even if DPLUS get Baron, you defend with Elder kind of game plan. It's 30 seconds the difference between these two objectives, so there's a world where DPLUS, if you tried to play it that way, could rush it down and then come over to contest. But DPLUS really have all the cards, all the options, and it's DNS who have to fight for prio anywhere. They got that scuttle in the bottom lane. They've got a Sentinel down there. And they're actually going to now put their group around this Baron. It spawns first, but they cannot actually get control of the zone to set up for this Kalista, who doesn't have GA yet either.
This red team from behind, it's pretty difficult to do that. Also, DPLUS Kia just pushed top and bot at the same time.
They're on a clock here, DNS.
Looking for Duck Dom, it looks like, as Hugh wants to get that started.
Ocean Soul value?
He's got a giant shield, and he's not afraid to use it. The handshake comes in. Shiu is still unbreakable at this point in time.
And DPLUS have done it. They've removed DNS from the Baron and timed out Elder. They have prio here, and DNS, they needed to be on Elder to win the fight. They have no vision whatsoever.
All right, Lucid gonna be spotted. Peter with the handshake, but might just die for it. And there is the Fate's Call. That's a big tool taken away from DNS.
Peter, I don't think he can afford to back here. He's just going to have to rely on that Ocean Soul healing to get himself back to relevance in this upcoming fight.
Maybe he can get the Gromp? They're not going to give it to him. That was close. So close to Smash, who has Cleanse, and Mikhail's. But still, looking for Smash, and Closer is going to hit it, but again, eventually, the Wild Growth comes in, the follow-up is not there. The Cataclysm actually making a lot of room as Duck Dom is frontlining, doing a good job. Shiu very separated from the team. He is going to find Duck Dom here, but Duck Dom just flashes away, and the front line, though, of DNS is gone as Duda goes in, gets actually a lot of value, but with Duck Dom off of the game, it just means that they have enough, and Smash, he got away from so many of the threats, and he will survive until the very end of this fight. Picks up the triple kill, 15,000 damage in the fight.
15,000 damage in a single team fight. Level 18, 11, 2, and 3.
Expiration date acquired.
Yeah. He knows how to read the back of that milk carton. Didn't panic cleanse Pyroshik's ultimate. Didn't mess up anything. And even though the Oner ultimate found the angle, Keria was ready to press R. We talked about the Lulu value long ago in draft. And Keria, he certainly made good use of it. He did not have the greatest wild growth on Jarvan in that earlier dragon fight, but besides